Hi, folks. Hope you're well today. Martyn, I'm relatively new to Derwent Vineyard, but I think I've probably had the chance to speak to most of you and enjoyed some of the conversations we've had, and looking forward to finding out a little bit more what church community and service looks like a little bit more over the coming weeks, as it were. On our Tuesday morning prayer group, Tom asked a few of us to put together some, thoughts for the day, as it were. So just a few thoughts and reflections from my own sort of prayer life over the last few days. I'm not entirely sure where the camera is on this thing, so excuse me if I stare off vacantly into space a little bit. Well, positives for me with the furlough scheme. It's been a good opportunity to take a break from the phones, from the noise, and some of the pressures of the job, as it were. And it's also been a really good opportunity to turn my hand to some of the things I don't get the opportunity really to do very much, and certainly like to do more of. Some of the struggles for myself, really, a major one is it's just keeping the extrovert fed, really. An extrovert home alone presents its own challenges, but also, really keeping going with with a deep sense of underlying sadness of everything that's happening in the world and also in the UK at the moment, really. And during my sort of prayers, I've been reminded of the need to just lay certain things, lay them at the foot of the cross. And, of course, as we know, Jesus commanded us to act in ways that demonstrate the gospel, and James and Paul often spoke and instructed about the need of the combination of both faith and work. So we reach out the best we can, and I'm certainly grateful for the actions of the government putting lives and well-being before the economy, and also the work of the key workers are working particularly hard to save lives, where they can. The impact of the situation can easily leave us feeling possibly a bit overwhelmed or a bit powerless, and such is the needs at the moment that can be beyond our own limited resources, physical, material, or emotional ones. It can lead to anxiety, it can lead to heightened stress, and for some, a situation can bear down on us so acutely when we can feel powerless to change, where depression sort of sinks in, as it were. A friend of mine, Danny, spoke to him the other week. He's fallen through the gaps of the government retention scheme, so he's got massive financial concerns at the moment, and there's little that I can do to help with my own limited resources. For big bag of cash, place that on the doorstep, that would certainly help, but there is not really an opportunity to be able to do that. So it could be easy to feel anxious for him and powerless to help. Now, you remember from Scripture the times of adversity and oppression for the Israelites, albeit often through their own poor choices or disobedience. So Israel's leaders would often remind the people stories of God's faithfulness, his mercy, his strong hand at work to save and rescue from their past, to provide in what seemed insurmountable obstacles, inspired the people, renewed their commitment, brought hope of restitution and also for a renewed future. And I can certainly recall God's hand and his presence at work in many ways, time and time again, without fail in difficult situations in my own life, bringing renewing and healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and actually sometimes materially. And when things seem to get a little bit tough again, I look back on God's work in the past, and that brings confidence and also confidence and help with relief from feeling anxiety or overwhelmed, when I'm confronted by new challenges. So perhaps if we over the next day or so, if we look back to the work of God's hands in our own lives when he's been faithful and there for us time and time again to help keep us strong and help keep us focused. Lastly, I was reminded of some of Nehemiah's words. The joy of the Lord is my strength. As you probably remember, Nehemiah was granted the opportunity to be able to rebuild Jerusalem, albeit with a heavy and a grieving heart, as he sat amongst the ruins of what was once a secure and prosperous city. Yet God's presence, his joy with him to strengthen him for the work of the enormous task that lay ahead. So may the joy of the Lord be your strength today, and may the joy of the Lord be with all those working in key roles today.